Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney. And I'm your host, Keith, and right below me on your screen is Rodney.
Greetings.
Today we're going to discuss the Biden administration's plan to release new $20 bills with the image of Harriet Tubman on the bill. All right. So that's what we're going to discuss here today at the Power of Offense, where we entertain you with legal commentary from a layman's point of view. All right. So let's get right into it. Let's hear what Chuck Schumer, right? Let's hear what he has to say concerning the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. Fair use, fair use.
It was a great pleasure to read the Biden administration's announcement today that the Treasury Department intends to speed up the plans to add the portrait of Harriet Tubman to the $20 bill. This is an issue I have long championed and something that should have been done a long time ago. I feel particularly strong about it since Harriet Tubman was an Auburn, New York resident, and our office worked for years to successfully make her home in upstate New York a national historic monument. And I'm glad the Biden administration is reversing the Trump administration's foot dragging. This is the kind of things they did. No excuse, no reason, just didn't do it. But now—
All right, let me stop right there real quick. Now, personally, let me just state this for the record that I actually agree with the Trump administration's foot dragging. I do. Now, I'm gonna get into the reasons of why I agree with it later, but I just want to make that clear. All right.
Now the Biden administration is reversing the Trump administration's foot dragging and will press forward with plans to circulate new currency celebrating Harriet Tubman's life and legacy.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that we are attempting to celebrate Harriet Tubman's life and legacy. I just don't believe that this is the proper way to do it, personally. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any thoughts on it, Rodney?
Now, I'm curious to hear why you disagree with the foot dragging.
Okay. Now, obviously, right, I'm not the only person that feels this way. All right. I'm obviously not the only person that feels this way. I have an article that was issued by Time magazine, and it says putting Harriet Tubman on the And it says putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill is not a sign of progress. It's a sign of disrespect. All right. So somebody obviously feels how I feel, right? Now what we're going to see, what we're going to try to discover is if we have the same reason behind it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm pretty sure we don't, because this article was written by Brittany Cooper. Right now, it says Brittany Cooper is a professor at Rutgers University and the author of Eloquent Rage, a Black feminist discovers her superpower. All right, so she's a Black feminist. And matter of fact, I have a picture of her from her book, so everybody can see who Miss Brittany Cooper is, right? And I can assure you that we do not agree on much. All right. But obviously she finds it disrespectful, just like I do. Now, Brittany Cooper, this is her. She's a Black feminist. So she wrote this article. Get a good look at her, fellas. All right. Here we go. We're going to read this article. Also, before we read it, let's take a look. That's the $20 bill. I mean, it's not a bad looking bill. You know, but we're gonna get into this article. We're gonna unpack this, but it's not a bad looking bill, at least. All right. It says the Biden administration announces plan to return to an Obama era initiative to put Harriet Tubman's face on the U.S. $20 bill. Kind of make you wonder who's really running the White House. Is it Obama running it in the shadows? But anywho, you know, her image would replace Andrew Jackson, the notoriously racist president known both for owning hundreds of slaves and for his brutal and genocidal policy of Indian removal. Based on current designs, a statue of Jackson would remain on the back of the bill, while Harriet Tubman would grace the front. Many Americans across the racial spectrum are excited about this tribute to Tubman. They view it as progress, as a necessary and long overdue disruption of the American founding fathers' narrative. I do not. Now, later, we're going to go back and we're going to touch this whole thing about American founding fathers, all right? We're going to come back to that statement right there. Now, Miss Cooper goes on and she says, I know in a country that worships at the altar of capitalism, an economic system made possible by the free black labor procured through the transatlantic slave trade, a black woman's face on our currency seems like the highest honor we could bestow. Now, I don't agree with that statement. To me, that's not the highest honor that we can bestow to a black woman. It's just not. But let's keep going. It says, but what a stunning failure of imagination. Putting Tubman on legal tender when slaves in the U.S. were treated as fungible commodities is a supreme form of disrespect. The imagery of her face changing hands as people exchange cash for goods and services evokes, for me, discomforting scenes of enslaved persons being handed over as payment for white debt or anything white slaveholders wanted. America certainly owes a debt to black people, but this is not the way to repay it. Now, I can agree with that last statement, right? This wouldn't be the way to repay the debt that America owes to us.
That's right.
But let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Kamala Harris, Vice President. It says, on the heels of Kamala Harris' historic ascension to the vice presidency, questions about the politics of representation figure heavily in on our political discussions and calculations. I believe that representation matters, that it matters for a woman with liberal values to be president someday, that black people and people of color should be in positions of leadership and decision-making in our government. Now, I'm just going to address that. I don't do identity politics. I want the best person for the job. See, where we grew up at, Rodney, all we had for the most part in my lifetime were black politicians. And guess what? A lot of them were criminals. A lot of them did stuff that they weren't supposed to do.
If they weren't criminals, they didn't hold their office
in high esteem. Yeah,
with the intent to help those who look like them from the communities.
Exactly.
No, it's in PG County is one of the richest counties. They say the richest black county in the country, and I could make the claim that PG County, those black folks are could be considered, based on the policies of Maryland as a whole, as they're not really benefits to the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to really get into it and really go in on how I feel about them.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? But just based on they're rich, but the policies for their rights based on Maryland is not equal footing. I mean, right. Maryland. I mean, it's horrible if you look at the laws, and I mean, it's crazy. Go ahead.
That, you know why? In my opinion, because there's a bunch of Democrats running it. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day, man.
Yeah.
Now, it goes on and she says, but all forms of representation are not equal, and the desire to put a black woman's face on our currency represents a narrative of diversity and inclusion that is deeply ahistorical. It is the ignominious, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, relationship of black bodies to capital and currency that is the cause today of our most violent battles in this country. Consider that just weeks ago, an angry insurrectionist white mob stormed the U.S. Capitol carrying, among other things, the Confederate flag. American lore suggests that the Confederate flag had never previously entered the U.S. Capitol, even during the Civil War. I say lore because we all know that even if the symbol of the Confederacy had never been in the capital, Confederate ideas had found a hearty welcome there, both in the past and in the present. Since this history has violently reinserted itself, demanding our attention, and if we are wise, our reckoning with a racist past that is never quite past, then we should note that Black people's faces have, in fact, been on our national currency before. Now, she goes on and she says, during the Confederacy, as each secessionist state printed its own money, images of enslaved people picking cotton and doing other forms of menial labor appeared on the currency in several states. Now, she is 100% correct, and I want to show everyone what she's referring to. Right here, you can see Confederate dollars. Example, this one right here. That's a Confederate dollar. You can see the Black people right here doing some type of plantation work. So that's what she's referring to. That's the historical context that she's referring to. So let's keep going. There you go, Harriet Tubman. That's one of her famous photos. I remember seeing this one as a child growing up.
Yeah.
It's a common photo. And I have much love for Harriet Tubman. Yes, I do. I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying.
She's one of my heroes.
Yeah.
Because as I'm a man, I don't know how many times I done went back down that joint. I ain't gonna fake. Many people ain't gonna admit that joint. She a soldier, but I ain't beyond soldier.
Agreed.
Great ancestors, peace be upon her.
Agreed.
To her.
I definitely agree. But I'm gonna give my reason later why I'm saying what I'm saying. you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna clarify it. Now, Brittany Cooper goes on. She says the default position in America is that Black bodies are only useful insofar as they turn a profit. We fought a bloody war over this issue, and then the country turned around and built a prison system based on exactly the same premise. Hence, calls to abolish prison, which depend in most cases on a massive amount of free Black labor to turn a profit. Now, I totally disagree with her when she talks about abolish prisons. I think that is insanely unintelligent. Why am I saying this? Because some people, right? Black people, white people, Asian, Hispanic, etc., all people, purple people, green people, right? If they go out here and they commit murders, robberies, right? Rapes.
If they simply damage people, do harm to people or damage property.
Yes.
To an extent of beyond repair, like an arson.
Yes.
Damage property to an arson, burn something down.
They deserve to be in prison no matter their race. Yeah. If they commit a malum say, you know what I'm saying, Rodney, a crime that's evil in itself, they deserve to be in prison.
Yeah, they need to be punished.
Yeah. So she goes on.
They need to be rehabilitated.
True, if they can be. You know.
That's
yeah.
Right.
So she goes on. She says Harriet Tubman's life was about fighting against the system that treated Black lives and Black bodies as property, currency, and capital. She was a great emancipator, freeing herself and hundreds of others and helping to bring the Union forces to victory, working as a spy in South Carolina during the Civil War. Would she consider it an honor to have her likeness plastered on American currency? And if she agreed to the honor, what would she ask for it in return? Now, those are great questions. You know, I guess we'll never know, but let's see what else Ms. Cooper had to say. She said, nothing short, I am sure, of broad structural change together with specific and targeted systemic interventions to aid Black women and Black communities. Now, I'm gonna stop right there. I mean, it's obvious she's a feminist, you know what I mean? Because what I find with these Black female feminists, they love to always say things like Black women and Black communities. Like, what does that mean? Why don't you say Black people in Black communities? To me, that seems like the proper way to say it, right? But again, she's a feminist, right? So, I mean, you know, I guess she wouldn't mention men, right? See, black people include men, women, and children, you know, and black communities. But anywho, let's keep going. A 2015 report placed single black women's median net wealth at $200. It placed black men's median wealth at $300. Nearly a quarter of black women live in poverty. And we know that black women are disproportionately represented as essential workers. Our Latina sisters often far worse. All right.
Yeah, that's a true statement. Maybe like I understand what feminist intent is, because they're trying to, I guess, support women because of the mass disparity and disrespect men have shown women over the course of history.
Well, I mean, because y'all right. I was going to say, I understand the spirit of feminism when they say that it's a woman's choice. See, I agree with that. I agree if a woman do not want to be a housewife, she shouldn't be. I agree if a woman want to sit there and she wanted, let's say she wants to be a plumber, then she should be. I agree with that. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, you get no kickback from that. Where I'm getting at is this. What I find is that the modern feminists, the feminists of today, tend to not want equality or just a choice. They tend to want to demonize men. This is what they tend to do.
Well, they're just confused. Those who take that approach, you know, they can be classified as just confused,
right?
And some things you can go a bridge too far. So you can be an extremist, just like whatever cause you champion. You could be an extremist for that cause, and that could render you unfair to others. So, right. So although you're trying to champion a cause, you have to do it in the light and the spirit of respect and not beat anyone down, because beating a person down is not going to help the black community as a whole.
I agree.
So all women, black, you know what I'm saying, they need to understand white doesn't make a difference.
I agree.
Blue, pink, or purple, no matter what color you are, they need to champion their causes with the respect of not putting down those who they consider put them in that position in the beginning. You know, so just keep it moving. In other words, and still championing your cause, but not to the point where you become an extremist.
Right.
So
I agree.
Because there, not only will you miss, people will pretty much miss your point.
I agree. Because to be honest, man, and that's why I pointed it out. See, I'm looking at the words. You know what I'm saying, right? Because we can read black women in black communities. I'm like, so what about the men and the children? What about the men and the children? See, to me, it makes sense to say black people in black communities.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't, I don't want to digress. I don't want to get too caught up on that.
Yeah.
All right. So Brittany Cooper goes on and she says, if Tubman is going to be linked to conversations on capital, that conversation must be about a redistribution and funneling of resources and money into black communities to deal with the wealth and wage disparities, access to education and safe housing, and a comprehensive plan of action to redress the social detriments of poor black health. Now, some of this stuff she's saying, like poor black health, is something black people can control. Now, let me go back to her photo. Let's go back to that. She can control that. Brittany Cooper, you can control that. So when I hear them say certain things, I'm like, come on, man. See, to me, some of it, you're playing the victim card. But this is my opinion. I'm just injecting my opinion in this. But let's keep going. Anything else is downright disrespectful. Perhaps we need the Harriet Tubman Reparations Act or the Harriet Tubman Abolition of Prisons Act. What we don't need is Harriet Tubman on 20s, right? So, okay, I can kind of understand if you want to go down the route of Harriet Tubman Reparations Act. I can get that. Although us black people already had reparations, we're going to do a broadcast on that in the upcoming future. We're going to prove to you what we're saying, right? But as far as like the Harriet Tubman, Abolition of Prisons Act, I can't agree with that. We need prisons for bad people. It don't matter what race. We need prisons for bad people.
Yeah, it just needs to be fair. I don't know if she's talking about the fairness of it.
Yeah, but Rodney,
yeah,
you done ran across some animals in your day like I have, man. It's some black people, Rodney, you done ran across same
yeah,
stuff
I agree.
have.
I agree. People have to be more than just in time out.
Yeah.
So, but I'm talking about the overpopulating of the prisons. You know what I'm saying? The unfairness in the rulings and justice in general.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. So
I can agree to that.
Yeah. The abolition of prisons is ludicrous, but the abolition of unfair justice should be what they should be more speaking to.
It's substance and merit to that. I agree with that. I agree with
fair.
That. Yeah.
Even in capitalism was fair. You wouldn't need reparations.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need reparations if we had the same access to financial opportunities as others.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of equality for all is really is opportunity. That's real though, right?
Yeah, but it's not fair. So we all know that it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And January 6th showed even more because I think if it had been the same amount of all black folks there, as we all know, there'd still be water hosing the blood off the streets today. You know, that's how much blood would have been on the streets.
Hey, Rodney, you know we agree on both stuff. I gotta give you pushback on that.
Yeah, I don't know. That joint. If they went up in that joint, they'd have slaughtered their ass. I
don't know. Cause I'm like this, man. I've been watching all the BLM protests, man. I've been watching a whole lot of black people out there destroying police stations, police cars, all type of stuff. They ain't getting shot down.
They ain't coming up in the Capitol with gun. I'm guaranteeing that joint. I'm guaranteeing they just letting them go rowdy now. Just to let them go. It's all a bigger picture. We ain't really trying to get in all that.
True.
But I ain't got them going up inside the Capitol like that. And the Congress running. Come on, man. They ain't doing that joint. You can go to your own community. They don't care about no Nike tennis shoes. They don't care about Landover Mall. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about Iverson Mall. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about all that. Go up there on Congress, where them white folks have been over centuries ruling to keep you in 200th place, not second place, 200th place.
Let me say this, right? Let me say this. I hope BLM, all of those extreme groups, right, on the left, all of them, right? I hope we test this theory out. I hope they go down there, right? Protest down there at the Capitol, and let's test this theory and let's see what happens.
Go down there with guns. So we know. Same thing they had with the AR. Go down there with the AR-15s, all shit that they had.
Please, I would love to see this.
Go down that joint with the Malcolm X flags. Go down that joint with the flags, the guns, and all that joint.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to see it, because I'm afraid of what happened based on history. You know, it wouldn't be a guess. It'd be based on what happened in the past. So, but black folk ain't gonna do that anyway. So they already know they ain't going down that joint.
Yeah, they not.
They ain't going down that. If they was going down that joint, they'd already been down there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't going down that joint.
They not. They rather shoot each other. They rather terrorize their own people. They ain't going down there. You know?
But both sides have, even on January 6th, that both sides have professionals.
Right.
Within.
That's true.
Yeah, they got a lot of professionals on both sides. So what the professionals are trying to do is yet to be seen. But
that's true. All right, let's finish this. So Brittany Cooper goes on and she says, so many of the freedoms we all enjoy today are a direct result of Tubman's heroic efforts. I agree to that. But American money and our national romance with it is the root of so many of our national evils. Too often, America attempts to atone for racism through style and symbol rather than substance. Now, I definitely agree with that. Now, I'm surprised to hear somebody on the left saying that. Again, to me, style and symbolism is Kamala Harris, right? I don't see where she presented any substance or brought any substance to the table. But again, the black community ran behind it because to them, a black woman was becoming the vice president.
Well, and to add on top of that joint is the people are miseducated because all the stuff that Biden is attempting to buy through executive order with the with people of color in mind, black folk in mind, it's a misdirection play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a misdirection play based on the ignorance of the people as they are right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that they don't know really what's going on, just like when you broke down democracy, most people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Because the system of education won't allow them to know that. Same thing with this.
That's real.
They don't understand. The little symbolism and style that Pamela's giving them. That's what they knew all through growing up in school. So
that's all it is.
They think that's substance. That's what I'm pointing to.
Yeah. I got you.
They believe that the style and system is substance based on what they learned from K through 12.
Because they do. Because again, I even got an argument with one of my cousins. To me, that seemed to be fascinated that the Democratic Party has so many people of color interns. He's like, you see all type of, races of people and women, and et cetera, and it don't matter what their sexuality is. But when you look at the right, when you look at the GOP, he's like, most of them are white, and you might have like 2 black people. And I'm like, dude, I don't get moved off of that. I say, man, I've been around black politicians my whole life, man. I care about substance, man. I don't care about the symbolism of somebody that looked like me just being there. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we can go. That's a whole nother topic, because we know what these politicians know. You know what I'm saying? So if we know what they know, because we know they know and understand the law for the most part. Although the limited knowledge what they learned in law school is not to the extent of what we learned, because what we learned is still in the Library of Congress, it's still on the books, but it's not what's taught in school.
I agree.
So some of those politicians don't know, but we're gonna hold them that they should know. It's what you know or should know. So they should know what we know.
That's real. That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
They should.
Know that, and I hold them accountable.
Because they professionals and they're skilled. You know what I'm saying? They should know.
And they're schooled in law. So therefore, and they schooled in history.
Yep. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
There's no excuse.
It applies to them just like they apply to us.
Yeah.
But let's finish this out too, Rodney, because she ends this with saying that we do not need America to put black women on this money. Again, I don't know why she just don't say black people, but again, she's a feminist. We do know why, you know what I mean? But to me, it just makes more sense to say black people on this money. Then she says we need America to put its money on black women, right? Why not say we need America to put its money on black people? But again, obviously she don't stand for black people. She just stands for black women. I mean, she is a feminist. So anywho, I'm ready to move on past this article, because I do want to get into why I disagree with the bill also. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
And before we do that, I would like to play this clip. All right. Now I had to go back into the vault. I had to go back to 2019 to pull this up for everybody. Now, I'm sure some of our listeners have heard this clip between Judge Joe Brown and Dr. Umar Johnson. And I thought it was fire. All right. So I'm unpacking this. All right. So let's listen to this clip. And shout outs to Valerie Denise Jones. I think her show was hot. Much love to her and her guest. And fair use.
Round 1, fight.
I got a question for you, Judge, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Because I would hate for any listeners, and particularly feminists, to misinterpret your comments earlier on Queen Mother Harriet Tubman.
I don't give a goddamn about feminists. They can go straight to hell, and I know they hate themselves because they got 2 X chromosomes instead of an XY. They are fraudulent, self-hating, and they're sick.
Well,
I just want to stop right there. I do think it's some truth to what Judge Joe Brown is saying right there. Again, to me, it's self-hating when you can't say black people. You just got to say black women. All right. So I kind of agree with what he's saying about feminists, but let's keep going.
I also wanted to clarify for me as well, Judge, because I know you had mentioned Thurgood Marshall, Dr. King, Frederick Douglass, and I just wanted to clarify with you that.
Just want to stop right there real quick too. Now, I do think that good, possible candidates should be Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, and Martin Luther King, right? I can agree with what Judge Joe Brown is saying concerning that, all right? But let's keep going.
Your comments were not suggestive of saying that by doing the Harriet Tubman movie that somehow undermined the works of those great male leaders, because that's what it kind of sounded like.
But the objective is, I've heard it from the Hollywood sources I have. These feminists are trying to do this movie so they can get a black woman put on a $20 bill. And they have no interest in this movie is to soften the public up to the idea of taking a black woman who frees slaves by leading them to freedom and getting her or another one like her on a $20 bill. They can't get a white woman, so they want a black woman. They don't care. They just want a woman, and it downs masculinity. Now, everybody on a bill is not a dead president. Don't forget Ben Franklin. He was never a president, so that's plenty of precedent to put in somebody black who was never a president. Like, let's say if we want to go back to the 19th century, like all of the rest of the people are on there, died off in the 19th century or the 18th century. We've got Ben Franklin, so we can have Frederick Douglass.
Again, I agree with him on that. You know what I mean? We can have Frederick Douglass. I agree with what the judge is saying, but let's keep going. We will keep unpacking this.
But do you? That's what I'm saying. Okay, but you don't have a problem with a black woman, and in this case, Harriet Tubman, being memorialized in whatever way that comes. You don't have a problem with that, do you? Or do you? I
got a big problem if it's on a bill before they put a black man's face on one. I have a big problem with that.
Why?
Because
do you have a problem
historically,
with a black
the status
woman?
of an ethnic group is determined by its men, not.
I got to stop right there. I agree with the judge 100%, and that's really my point to why I feel the way I do. The reason I disagree with it is because I agree with him that the status of a people is predicated upon its men. Just like a strength of a people is predicated upon its men. All right. Now I'm gonna add some more to it as we go.
It's women, and that you put a black woman on there before a black man is insulting to the black race because you're saying the men ain't worth a damn. Put a woman up there first.
Again, I agree with him. I feel the same way. That if you put a black woman on the bill first, it is insulting to our race. It's insulting to the men. I do feel that way. I'm making it very clear, man. Let's keep going.
I disagree.
Well,
I disagree. I don't think.
And the other
thing is, Harriet,
black male leadership.
Honoring a black woman
needs to lead the black race by saying, impose your sense of responsibility on motherhood and start raising some decent young men instead of these little monsters that you have running around the house where you don't want to have a father involved with them. Start being.
Let's stop right there. I agree with his statements right there. Now, some cases, right, the men leave. This is true. It's not always the woman leaves the man. Sometimes the man is just of no good and he leaves. He has nothing to do with the child, right? But
that's how it began. That's how it began. But now it's flipped where the women feel as though they don't need a man. That they don't need a man, so they're going against the laws of the universe, nature.
Yeah. And see, whatever parent is still there with the child has the responsibility to make sure that child turns out to be something, or you will end up with a monster. Now, I got this clip. I want to play this, right? Fair use, fair use. Now, I got this from World Star Hip Hop. You know, this just happened recently. 22-year-old Harlem man shoots his mother in the head after she told him to get a damn job. Fair use. Fair use.
Police say that 22-year-old Musa Kamara shot his own mother in the head. Now, family members told us that the mother and her son had recently been arguing, as you mentioned, Adam, over him getting a job. The victim's brother, the uncle, wants no mercy for his nephew. Family and friends huddled in grief at Layman village houses. Fatoumata Danson was a mother of 8. Police say one of her children, Musa Kamara, shot and killed her around 9 this morning. The uncle wants justice.
I want him to go rest of his life in prison.
Danson arrived in New York City more than 25 years ago.
Lovely sister. She don't have no, she kind to the entire family, let's say kind to everybody. She always smile and laugh.
Today, she was found dead in her 15th floor apartment. According to witnesses, Musa Kamara shot her in the head and ran away. A video shows the moment police arrested him on 108th Street and Madison Avenue.
He got arrested with the weapon. I don't know the size of what kind of weapon it is, but he got arrested with the weapon.
Family members say Fatoumata had recently pressed her son to find a job, and on several occasions things got heated. A grieving brother, now lamenting the untimely death of his little sister, says he will never forgive his troubled nephew.
Come and look for better life, and she got killed by her own son, which is Musa Kamara, my nephew. I want him to go life in prison. No mercy for him.
Police say that Kamara was taken to a hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. We are still awaiting word on charges. Reporting live from East Harlem, Gaby Acevedo, News 4 New York.
All right. Now, back to what the judge was saying. Again, raising monsters, right? This is why we don't agree here, the power of offense, with prison, doing away with prisons. You need prisons for monsters, you know, people who commit murders, you know, like the young man that just shot his mom in the head because she told him to get a damn job.
How did she?
Brittany Cooper.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's the system that did that joint.
Yeah, but it still is his choice, though. You know what I'm saying? How many of us have decided not to do something like that?
Yeah.
You know, but let's keep moving.
Real mothers and pay attention to it. That's what
honoring a black woman, Judge. How is that an insult to black men? I don't understand that.
Because if they had a black man on there, it wouldn't be. But if you put a black woman first, that's an insult to black men. Harriet Tubman rescued 250. She rescued maybe 250.
She rescued more than that. Judge.
Well, it may be, but there were black men that did something better than that too. There's one that's down here featured at a house going into North Memphis here, where they had an underground railroad, and the brother got several thousand black slaves to freedom. Okay. But they don't.
Now I'm gonna stop right there. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I didn't know what he's talking about, and I wish Judge O'Brien was able to drop the man's name. You know what I mean? But again, what we do know is that there were several people that were participating, because the Underground Railroad couldn't exist if it was only one person that was helping slaves escape. You know, if it was only Harriet Tubman, it would have never been a Underground Railroad. So of course, it naturally had to have been more than just her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why they called her the conductor, because she was running her leg of the Underground Railroad. But I get both points, you know what I'm saying, but it's something how I judge Joe Brown's point is that once again they're putting the black woman over the black man. Not saying that Harriet Tubman is not historic, because to me she's close to my number one,
right?
You know, if not my number one, based on the little history we were taught in the school. But just like Judge Joe Brown said, they are just like there was people before Rosa Parks, but she got the credit.
Exactly.
You know
exactly. So it's an agenda. It's the point that the judge is trying to relay, and I agree with him. This is why you have women. That's what I'm saying. Like Brittany Cooper, right? The only thing we agree on is the fact that she disagreed that Harriet Tubman should be on the bill. That's the only thing me and her agree on. But we don't agree on the reasons. You see what I'm saying? This woman only acknowledged black women and black communities. She don't acknowledge black people.
That because she's
not
confused.
Black men.
Yeah, she's confused.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's keep going.
Don't even commemorate him, and you can't even learn about it.
But Judge Joe,
you happen to walk in that monument.
But wouldn't you
what
agree?
The hell they don't say?
But wouldn't you agree that
because you led somebody to freedom?
Pause is right. he's not going to beat Judge Joe Brown in the argument. Judge Joe Brown is professional. You know, you say he cut him off. That's that legal shit he doing. Every time Umar Johnson may be a doctor, but he's not a legal professional. He knows just how to cut him off every. That's what I'm listening to. How he just cut him off.
Exactly.
Every single time. That's the professionalism of the legalese. But go ahead.
Yeah, man. The best thing for Umar to do is take, like we do, Rodney.
Yeah.
Piece of paper, take notes, and let Judge O'Brien get it out, and then you address it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Just like how they do it in court.
Yeah, he's not gonna win that joint. But go ahead.
All right.
Judge, wouldn't you agree that Frederick Douglass, Dr. King, and Thurgood Marshall have all been exceedingly more celebrated and remembered in both Black history and American history than Queen Mother Harriet Tubman?
I want to stop right there and answer that. I agree with him on that. Yes, I do believe in Black history that Frederick Douglass and Martin Luther King, especially Martin Luther King, has been celebrated more than Harriet Tubman. I agree with that 100%. But I'm still unpacking my reasons, right? Now, Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, and Martin Luther King are three people that Judge Joe Brown mentioned, right? But I got my own set of people, and we're going to get to that. You know what I'm saying? But I do agree with what Dr. Umar is saying right here that in comparison, I do feel like Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass was possibly celebrated more than Harriet Tubman. Definitely Martin Luther King. I mean, we have a whole memorial for him.
Yeah.
Downtown, D.C.
They need They need to put them on a bill and show respect. They've got a homicidal maniac, Andrew Jackson, on a $20 bill. They've got a non-president, Benjamin Franklin, on a $50 bill. They've got Grant. They've got every Calvin Coolidge on a damn bill, too.
Douglass and King have been written about more than any other Black hero in American history. Why not give
and I remember,
why not give Black women?
Well, let me say this, Dr. Umar Johnson, I'm going to answer your question, bro, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Martin Luther King, right, as well as Frederick Douglass was written about probably more than any other Black person in history. I agree, right? But I'm going to present you soon with some other men that can actually be on that bill rather than Harriet Tubman, because I personally do believe that a man precedes his race. The strength of the race is predicated on a man. But let's keep going.
Their opportunity, Judge.
I don't care. You put a Black man on there first, because the thing of it is, they are not going to lynch. They are not going to generally lynch Black women. They'll rape them, but they'll lynch the Black men.
If they would have caught Harriet Tubman, they would have lynched them. If they would have caught Harriet Tubman, they would have lynched them.
They go in and deal with getting rid of the men.
If they would have caught Harriet Tubman, they would have lynched the judge.
Stand and deliver, sacrifice self, be the last in the damn lifeboat when the women and children get in there first.
Again, like I just said, the strength of a people, right? The strength of a race is predicated on a man. This is basically what Judge Joe Brown is saying. I agree with him. How about you, Rodney?
Yeah, I do agree.
All right.
You put a Black man on the corner.
I hope you're not.
Okay.
I hope you're not.
I'm sorry. There's no way you can convince me.
I hope you're not a male chauvinist, Judge. I hope you're not a male chauvinist.
I am a male chauvinist.
Radio.
Judge Joe Brown is funny. He said, I am a male chauvinist. Hey, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it if that's how he feels. I mean, hell, I did look up the definition of chauvinist because, again, I kind of think people throw around words without actually knowing the definitions. So I just typed in define chauvinist, and a chauvinist is a person displaying aggressive or exaggerated patriotism. Used as an adjective, is showing or relating to excessive or prejudiced loyalty or support for a particular group or cause. So Judge Joe Brown saying that he's a male chauvinist, right, is no different than Brittany Cooper being a feminist. It's the same damn thing. Excuse my language, but it's the same thing. You see what I'm saying, Rodney? But they make it seem like you're wrong if you're a man and you decide that you want to be chauvinist. But women can do it. I thought we all equal.
Yeah.
So I got to agree with the judge on that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I also wanted to pull up something else, to Rodney. Something else I want to pull up. All right. Here we go, y'all. I have a tweet. Now, this tweet is from the Honorable Judge Joe Brown. Now, this is an old tweet too. I had to go back in the records for this. You know, this is from November the 16th, 2019. All right. And Judge Joe Brown said, I said it. Judge Joe Brown. Now, he said putting a black woman on a $20 bill before a black man is insulting to the black race. Yes, he said it. We all heard it. We just played it. We have all heard him say it, right? Now, I'm going to scroll down. And I think it's a beautiful thing when we have sisters that understand the point that Judge Joe Brown is trying to make. Like this one sister, Tony Carter, said, I understand why you said it. I respect your insight, you know? So some sisters do understand why Judge Joe Brown is saying what he's saying. You know, once you remove your emotions and feelings from this thing, and you start to see that there has to be some type of agenda behind this. It has to be. It has to be.
I mean, it's clear it's the breaking down of, it was the breaking down of the family, and even further breaking down of the man by putting, by giving, it's almost like it's, yeah, I don't like getting into that male-female joint because they don't understand, but I understand what Judge is saying.
But Rodney, it has to be talked about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It has to. My thing is this: whether we address it or not, the women are still operating their own agenda, man. I see, man. Come on, Rodney. How many times have you seen black girl vote, black girl rock? They even have a black girl invest. Why isn't it black people rock, black people vote, or black people invest? It's always about them. Yeah. And I'm not saying all of them, but it's a large segment of them that's like that.
But
it is.
But it should
it's
be
an
okay.
Agenda.
It should be okay for them to be female chauvinist, just like Judge Joe Brown is male chauvinist. But the point that I think the women are missing is the ultimate collaboration with the black man. I think they're trying to separate.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah. They're not trying to collaborate with the black man or uplift bring the black man through what they're obtaining. You know what I'm saying?
You basically saying what I was trying to say. Thank you, Rodney. You just made it clear.
They're trying to, it appears that they, on their way to their, I guess, their goal with being acknowledged as black women, and I'm totally for it. You know what I'm saying? I have a black mother, three black children. I mean, two black daughters. So I understand what they need, but it has to be in collectiveness with the black man in order for the black race to proceed. If they able to successfully
accomplish
sever that the relationship between black men and black women, which is what they're doing an excellent job now, and they're doing it through commerce. You know, they're doing it through the way that and through commerce, through propaganda. That's why you had those songs, I don't need a man, this and that. You know, that you do need a man in the full scope of civilization. Right. You may not need a man on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can't make a child without a man, despite the biblical story. You know, that's a whole nother world.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's no such thing as immaculate conception.
Yeah, it is, but not in the sense of what they're talking about. Yeah. So if the black women rise up, that's great, but they have to they have to realize what's being done to the black man. They don't realize what's being done to the black man, what's been done to the black man over time, and now they're getting our women to.
I don't think some of them care, man. I mean, I'm throwing it out.
They don't because of the system. The system put them in position not to care, and black men have a lot of them, not all of them, a few of them, or some, whatever number you choose, have done them wrong.
That's true.
Over time, no matter what the reason was, you know what I'm saying, they've done it wrong. So for them to have the attitude, I definitely understand, but they have to reach back deeper in their spirituality or whatever they claim to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture incorporated by the system is that division. So he's right. It's not like no one doesn't honor Harriet Tubman, because I didn't pay it any attention. You can put her on a $20, but it's only a $20 bill. It doesn't matter who you put on a $20 bill, because paper money is pretty much obsolete. This is just a game.
No, I agree. Hey, Rodney, that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother subject. So they're arguing about towards
digital currency. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But I do want to go somewhere with this. Have one more piece that I want to drop, because I still want to get to, because I gave the reason why I feel that way, personally, why I disagree with Harriet Tubman being on the bill. But I also want to get to who I feel should be on the bill, right? So we
get to that.
Know I established that I do believe it should be a black man, right? Now,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but Judge O'Brien, he's saying first. He ain't saying I put her on the bill, but this honor the suffrage of the black man first. If we should get more than, because according to the sister, the female, what's she called?
Brittany Cooper.
Feminist.
Yeah,
according to her, that we consider to be currency anyway. So she doesn't want any black person on that job. But I'm saying we deserve to be put on all the money,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Because we are the currency.
Exactly.
But
and we're part of this. We're part of this union too. And I hate when they start talking like we separate from the union. No, we're part of this union too. This is my country. Can't nobody separate me from this. And I'm like this. Now, I think a good idea maybe would be to put a black man on the front and maybe Harriet Tubman on the back of the bill.
Yeah,
that shows some type of union instead of Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, because I thought
that's an option.
Yeah, I thought that her article was talking about the fact that the black man is behind the woman. I mean that the white boy is behind the black woman. You know what I'm saying? Right. I thought that as more sexual perverted and showing the strength of white power towards the black women by him being behind her. You know what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be no her. And those are two polar opposites of their rationale in during those times. Right. You know, so why would they have two polar opposites? One, Andrew Jackson behind the one that tried to free him, but the person behind it is that system of racism, white supremacy behind the whole. This is so.
It don't even make sense.
Yeah. What is he still on the bill for? If he has to be on the bill, don't put nobody black on. That's the most. Put any black person on the bill with Andrew Jackson is disrespectful.
Exactly.
I think it's more disrespectful to put her on it, or he shouldn't be on it at all. So they are so charged with displaying their
wokeness.
Their
BS wokeness.
I'm talking about the system. I'm talking about the system. They're so stern on showing you or flaunting their physical force.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That they're even doing it on this $20 bill by putting him behind her.
Right. I get what you go with that.
You know
the symbolism in that. Yeah,
it's symbolism in a white man being behind a woman.
Well, let me tell you how some of us interpret it. That maybe they're trying to tell us that black women are the right hand of white supremacy. Now let me say why I'm saying this. I'm not saying all black women, because all black women are not, but there is a large segment of them that do support white men and do anything for. Man, we go down the book with this, but that's whole other.
That's black people in general, operating off meritorious manumission. That's a general statement. That's why I say the system of racism and white supremacy and those who support it.
Yeah,
those who support it are black men, black women.
The Willie Lynch letter, man, and how to break down the family. You control the culture's taught through the woman. You break down the woman, she teach the children, do everything you want them to do. That's what they have done. That's why the dysfunction, like when we looked at the monster, this is why it's such dysfunction in the black community, because a lot of us learning this from their moms, man.
But just like you say, it was the system that put the black mom in that position to do that. So it's all back to the
Democrats. System. I agree. I agree.
It's the Democrats. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I don't care who they are.
Right.
It's that system. It's that system of racism and white supremacy that's behind. And what's it called? The the Willie Lynch letter, was it Willie Lynch?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even a real letter because the language that was used in that letter wasn't conducive of the language used in that time. But it's the point of the letter.
We're going to have to bring Judge Joe Brown on because he did research on that. I heard him do several shows on it. He said it is a real letter. He did research on it.
But
at the Library of Congress.
Yeah, so that letter that he had to do the language. So you had to find the word that's used in that letter in the dictionaries of those times. So the research that I was doing was the language, the words that was used. Right. So it may be a Willie Lynch letter, but is it those same words? It's those same words that's used in the Willie Lynch letter that everyone used, or is it a separate one at the Library of Congress? So I would have to see
that's what we're gonna have to get him on the show. Yeah. So we could discuss that. But the principle, not to cut you off because I know we got to go. The principle of the Willie Lynch letter is dead on. So it's not, to me, it's not the messenger, it's the message. The message, right? I agree. You know what I'm saying? So if that message is 100 spot on, whether it's real or not, I don't even want to debate on whether the letter is real. I want to debate that that's what has happened. The message is what it is. Yeah. I agree. So that's more important than the message in and of itself. I agree. All right. I want to go back to something. All right, here we go. I wanted to go back to Brittany Cooper's letter because remember earlier in the broadcast, I said I wanted to deal with this statement where she brought up the founding fathers, right? And let me see where she said that at. I think that's in the beginning. Yeah, right here. All right, I'm gonna highlight this. She said that they view it as progress as a necessary and long overdue disruption of the American founding fathers narrative. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up is because what a lot of us don't know as Black people is that we are a part of the founding fathers. A lot of us don't know this, right? We don't know the history that we have in this country, meaning a lot of us are unaware of all of the accomplishments, right? All of the achievements, as well as sacrifices that we made to be in positions of leadership. So I actually wanted to show this clip. All right. And this is to prove my point. Let me see. All right, this is to prove my point right here. I want to show this clip. And this was a show that was done on Fox News, right? The same racist Fox News. Everybody likes to say Fox News is racist. They are racist. They support Donald Trump or President Trump. Well, the same Fox News had Glenn Beck on, right? And he did a whole series, right? Over 10 years ago. And it was called America's Black Founding Fathers. Take a look.
And welcome to another Founders Friday on the Glenn Beck program. Somebody asked me just before we went on the air how these shows are being rated. And I have to tell you, we didn't think anybody would watch. We thought, we'll give this a whirl, see if everybody wants to watch it.
Now I'm going to stop right there, right? And I'm going to go back a little bit. And I want people to look. I want all of our listeners to look at these faces. Look at these faces he's showing. It's only one Black face up there that I'm sure most of you all can identify, and that would be Frederick Douglass. But you see, right next to Frederick Douglass, right? Follow my mouse. Right next to Frederick Douglass, there are two Black men underneath him. Right underneath Glenn Beck right here, it's a slew of Black men in his portrait. It's a Black man right there. My point is this, and at some point, I want us to cover this too, right now. Like I actually want us to go through these America Black Founding Father episodes that Glenn Beck did on Fox News. Reason being is because he actually exposed a lot of history that again, achievements and accomplishments that were made by black people, specifically black men during the time, that are unknown to most Americans today. And the only way we can bring the races of people together and bring us all together is for us to know the true history and foundation of America. So I think this is important, right? So
yeah, I agree.
Where I'm getting at is this. Now, I'm gonna show y'all something else. All right, what I wanted to show you all is this. And as you can see on your screen, right, we have the $20 bill that was proposed of Harriet Tubman that's to your far left, right at the top, right? And it's a nice looking bill. Don't get me wrong. It looks nice. I do like the way the bill looks. She looks nice, right? But as you can see, I have altered the bill to show 5 different black men that I feel could be awesome representatives, right, for us as a race of people on this $20 bill rather than Harriet Tubman. All right. This is what I think. All right. And let's discuss this. Now we're going to start, right? We're going to start with this gentleman to the right, at the top right. We're going to start with who this gentleman is. All right. All right, the first gentleman is Benjamin Banneker. That's his name. And he was a free black man. He was a surveyor, a landowner, a farmer. He had massive knowledge of mathematics, and he actually wrote his own almanac. So Benjamin Banneker, right, is the guy to your top right. All right, that's who Benjamin Banneker is. And Benjamin Banneker also finished he completed the layout of Washington, D.C. So he completed Washington, D.C. when LaFont quit the job of actually drafting D.C. It's a whole story about that. Matter of fact, maybe we should do that here at the Power of Offense when they just cover that, because I think that's a pretty high piece of history that
LaFont was a drunk and they sent him back.
Yeah.
And Benjamin Banneker, they have in it that he was mathematics and natural history, but what he really was an astronomer.
Yeah, he was an astronomer.
Yeah, he the one that mapped out the that 10-mile square.
Yep.
Of Washington, D.C. And he mapped it out according to the stars and how it laid out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But the Ellicott City.
Yes.
He was the architect, you know what I'm saying? Benjamin Banneker told him, and he wrote it down. So he was the one and they named the city after him, Ellicott City in Maryland.
I did not know that.
I forget his first name, but he was the actual surveyor, the licensed surveyor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he went and surveyed the 10 square miles, and he used Benjamin Banneker, who understood how actually Benjamin Banneker that's why he was free. You know, so he's a descendant. His grandfather or father or one of them was a descendant of of Mali.
I got you.
So you know, if you know any history about Mali, we're not going into all that. I'm not a historian, but Mali dealt with the universe and the stars and things like that, and he was a descendant of that, so he understood that principle of nature.
Right.
That's why they say in the book of they didn't really go into. They call him a natural. What did it say? Natural what? Natural history. Yeah. What is natural history? You know, if it's not the stars. You know
right. I agree.
That's not the only thing that's natural that would have history.
Yeah.
But Benjamin Banneker was a bad boy, and they don't really give him. You have to really go into Black history to really get a lot of info. But he should be on all the money, because the money wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
If it wasn't knowledge and understanding.
I think he would be an awesome person to put on it. All right, we have somebody else. Now, let me go back to the currency so everyone can see his photo.
And I get my almanac every year, so you definitely need to get your almanac so you understand other things that this brother brought forth.
I agree. Now, this gentleman right here right here below Harriet Tubman. I'm circling his image. This gentleman right here, his name is Bass Reeves, for those who do not know. Bass Reeves. Take a good look at him. You know? Now, Bass Reeves, right? Bass Reeves. He was an American law enforcement officer. He was the first black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River. He worked mostly in Arkansas and the Oklahoma Territory. And for all of my old school people that are familiar with the show, The Lone Ranger. Now, I'm sure you remember that, Rodney. You probably was a child when it came out.
That's what it was based off of.
It was based on Bass Reeves, man.
Yeah, based off of him, yeah.
Yep. The man was brilliant. And he was an ex-slave. And he pulled himself up from the bootstraps and became a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
Now, his story, I love his story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he looked really nice on that bill, too.
That's right. He used to smash them white folks by say, yeah,
he did.
Man. Yeah.
Talk about masculinity, huh? Now, the next gentleman right here, right? This gentleman right here, I'm gonna pull up his and this is the gentleman right below Benjamin Banneker. Let me pull up his bio.
He was one of the capital men.
You know it. You know it. His name, oh man, Hiram Rhodes Revels. And he was a Republican U.S. Senator, minister in the African Methodist, Episcopal Church, and a college administrator. He was born free in North Carolina. He later lived and worked in Ohio, where he voted before the Civil War. Now, what's awesome about this man is that he was the first black U.S. senator. He was the first senator.
And you can get this book right here, and here goes his picture right here. This book I got, that's his picture right here.
Yep. It says it right here. A free man his entire life. He was the first African American to serve in the U.S. Congress. This is right on the government website. Right there. So let me pull this man up again. Here that man go so everybody can see his portrait. Remarkable. Now this next gentleman right here at the bottom, to the bottom left, that's right underneath Bass Reeves. We want to see who this gentleman is. This gentleman's name is Joseph Hayne Rainey. Joseph Hayne Rainey was born in 1832 in Georgetown, South Carolina. And then it says at a seaside town surrounded by low country rice plantations. Now, let me go further down. He was a part of the Republican Party. And he was the first, let me highlight this. He was the first black person, or shall I say black man, to serve in the United States House of Representatives, and the second black man after Hiram Revels to serve in the United States Congress. Again, I think that is awesome.
He's right here in this book as well.
Yep.
And actually, this photograph right here, it was that backdrop of that first Glenn Beck joint. It's the one that's right in the middle.
Yeah.
This photo, if you take the words off.
Yep.
That photograph.
Photograph. Yep.
All those guys.
That's that gentleman right there in the portrait. He also would look great going on that $20 bill. And then right here we have Thurgood Marshall. I don't think I need to cover him much because most of us know who he is. He was the first black appointed Supreme Court justice. He was a brilliant man. And I think he looked just as good on that bill too. Now, the reason why I picked these men, I want to give my ultimate reason why I picked them, is because to me, sometimes I get tired of our entire existence in this country, here in America, always being predicated on slavery. It's always the conversation of slavery always have to come up whenever it concerns us. I'm like this. This is just how I feel. Why can't we have a black male, right? A black man that participated in some form of fashion in a official capacity for our government to represent us on the bill. All of these men that I picked represented us in an official capacity for the United States government in some form or fashion. Now, my point is, Harriet Tubman, not only is she a woman, but she basically was an abolitionist, which is awesome, just like Frederick Douglass was, right? Martin Luther King was a minister. He was a part of the civil rights era, right? I feel like, it's just me, this is my personal feelings about this. I feel like the best representation for the entire world to see black Americans, black people, for them to see us, the entire world. These $20 bills is going to be in places like Dubai, Japan. It's going to be everywhere, right? Everywhere that still accepts legal tender or paper currency will have these $20 bills. I think the best representation for us will be one of our men that served in an official capacity for the United States government, not as an abolitionist and not as a civil rights leader.
And none of them were slaves.
And none of them was, right, except for Bass Reeves. But come on, man, he was a U.S. Marshal, man. He did help set up a lot of the tactics they use, man.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, Rodney? This is my argument concerning this. And these are people, and actually I want to tell the listeners, when you check out this video, please forward it to the United States Treasury. Forward it to them, right? So they can know how we feel. So they can know how the people feel, because remember, they're public servants. They work for us. So we have a duty to let them know how we feel about these things. And again, like we said earlier, Rodney, I think it would be awesome to have one of these men on the front and have Harriet Tubman on the back. It gets no better than that. Represents black people. And that's how it should be done. Black people and the black community.
That's right. But first we had to get educated about who these people were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, because it's
but once
crazy.
People see it, or once they introduce it, they're going to look it up anyways. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And let me show you this too, right? I think it looks kind of cool in grayscale too. I actually did it in grayscale too. I want to know what you think about this. Grayscale. I actually think it kind of look better in grayscale, only because the
black and white images.
Yeah, because it kind of merged better. But
yeah, that's on tight right there.
Yeah, thank you.
Did. Yeah, that's on tight right there.
Thank you. So I'm ready to wrap this up, man. I think this was another awesome broadcast here, The Power of Offense.
I totally agree.
Everybody with legal commentary from a layman's point of view.
Absolutely. That's rooted in faith. That's rooted in facts.
Exactly.
Provable fact. Anything can be proven, must be proven.
Yes, indeed.
That's why we sit here and hold all our books and everything because we go through them. We don't just have them sitting around. So
exactly.
Unfortunately, that's what we have to do because our system failed us in education. So we have to self-educate. So we need a Congress to be put in place to pass laws for schools that can help educate folks properly, not a narrative to have them dumbed down in a fashion where they pretty much working for free.
I agree. And everyone, please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Peace.
Peace.